How's it going, everyone? Jiivita here with a overview for testing 234. This adds some pretty cool things, namely chiselable glass and like 3 new types of closed storage. So now we have the kind of farming or wicker boxes, as well as metal and gleam versions. And yeah, I have to say they look pretty nice, especially the metal and gleam boxes, but even this wicker box looks really, really nice. And I do have the gold ones up here, but I have to say I'm kind of a little partial to the iron as far as the metal closed storage. But yeah, it comes in all the colors of metal, so you have, of course, your copper, iron, silver, gold, and titanium. And yeah, just quite nice. And jumping over to this nice dark cave over here, you can see that the gleam storage actually does emit at least a little bit of light depending on the color used. So if you use a particularly dark color like this shadow cerulean, it hardly puts off any light whatsoever, but even the brighter colors like this white, it's not exactly going to overpower any of the lighting around your area. Adds a little bit of illumination to an otherwise dark area, so pretty interesting. Opens up quite a few more options for some interesting lighting type uses. And with these new material types, we now have the full range of storage. So starting off with 16 storage slots all the way up to 40 for the gleam and metal storage boxes. So if you don't like the either the look of the gleam storage or the glowing effect, you can use the metal storage and still get the same amount of storage. So very nice. Whereas the wicker storage mirrors that of wood and stone closed storage options. And jumping back over to the glass, all glass is now fully chiselable, or at least the full block version. So here's the original glass block that's still available, but now we have the plain glass block, the stylish, and then ornate glass blocks, all of which of course are chiselable, and yeah, should open up a huge range of possibilities as far as either like trying to make more kind of smooth domes made out of glass, or all sorts of really kind of cool crazy things. And you can also combine kind of glass and lighting to make some pretty interesting effects. Kind of made some crystals over here to try to show it off a little bit, but the app over on the Boundless forums posted a screenshot of essentially a smokestack using glass to simulate the smoke, and even put some lighting in the smokestack itself, and it kind of lit up the smoke. And yeah, just an ingenious use of the new glass, the lighting system, and just looks spectacular, I have to say. Quite impressed. But all in all, as far as clarity, the original glass block is pretty much king in that department. If you want a more seamless approach, you can use the plain glass block, but as you can see, it's a little bit more opaque, kind of more tints the environment with whatever color gleam was used to craft it. In general, the darker colors are easier to see through, so this glass that was made with black gleam is pretty easy to see through it, although of course you can see it does pretty strongly tint or darken whatever it is you're looking at, whereas this white glass or glass made with white gleam is fairly opaque, harder to see through. So all in all, lots and lots of options here, and I can't wait to get this on live to play around with it and come up with some really cool build ideas. But certainly now you can have that glass staircase, ramp, or just make interesting kind of glasses, or even maybe get real creative and make like a visor on a robot or something with glowing eyes behind it. I don't know, the possibilities are pretty much endless. So the recipe for the original glass block has not changed, as well as the recipes for the plain, stylish, and ornate glass blocks are identical to the recipes for the pane counterparts. And a particularly evil use for these glass blocks would be to make a glass maze. So this is pretty crazy, really can't hardly tell, like, yeah, it looks like I should be able to go there, but yeah, you pretty much just have to feel your way through here, and I think I can kind of find my way basically on the simple premise that I'm the one that built the maze, so I think it's somewhere. Maybe. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, so, but yeah, fairly evil, and I suppose you could like hide maybe some freebies, like put up something semi-valuable up for sale for, you know, free or a really low price, and hide it in the middle of one such maze. But pretty evil, I have to say. And something I'm forgetting to mention is that all of the glass panes, blocks, all of this has been moved over to a new rendering system called Order Independent Transparency, kind of a fancy term, but basically these will no longer count towards the mesh limit or the complex item or complex object rendering limit. So in other words, you can spam these just like any other block and not worry about hitting any kind of limit. So that'll be really nice to just kind of like let loose and go nuts with decorating with glass and all sorts of things. Another great side effect of the Order Independent Transparency is that it should take a little bit of the load off of the CPU, in most cases actually speed up rendering of the world. So overall, performance of the game should be improved by some amount. And taking a closer look at the Ordinate Glass, it acts very much like the glass panes in that the texture that's displayed is determined by its neighbors. But this is also taken a step further for the block in that each face is determined by its neighbors. So I can place blocks here and it'll change this face, but it won't necessarily change the other faces of the blocks. So pretty cool system, and I can't wait to see how else it's used throughout the game. James mentioned that he's considering using it for several other things, and even threw out random things like power grid system, conveyor belts, and like some crazy ideas. So pretty exciting. But even just for regular, you know, decorative blocks, to be able to have basically borders automatically generated just based off of how much of it's placed next to itself. Pretty cool system. And finally, but certainly not least, there has been a small improvement to basically repairing machines. So in the last update, they made it to where you can repair one part of the machine and it repairs, of course, the machine and or coil, but then everything else that is technically connected to it. Now what they've done is whenever you look at a machine component, it gives you the average durability of the entire setup, and when you go to repair it, it gives you one message saying that you repaired that machine and all connected power coils for the amount that, well, the spanner actually repairs for. So in other words, if you have all of your coils kind of hidden away and all you see is the machine, you'll be able to see the average durability for the entire setup instead of just the machine. Because yeah, you would repair the machine relatively quickly, but then all of the connected coils would still need repairing. There is a slight kind of oddity in the system, in that if the coils have negative durability, it will actually look like you're breaking your machine as you repair it until the coils get back into the positive. So kind of a little bit strange, but don't fret too much if it looks like you're breaking your machines. Really the only place you'll probably run into this is with the Chrysomentor coils, since they wear out faster than the machine itself for whatever reason. I guess because the coils are giving you extra coins, so the coils actually take extra wear over what the machine takes. That's kind of my vague guesstimation of what's going on. But for other machines, they should wear out more or less uniformly, and therefore they really shouldn't ever go into negative durability bar special circumstances. So very, very nice addition right there. And more or less treats the machine as though it has one unified pool of durability, which is something I've always kind of secretly hoped that they would do, just for making ease of life of repairing all of this stuff. Okay, well I think that wraps up the changes in testing 234 quite nicely. Some really cool changes here. Can't wait to get my hands on the new storage, particularly this gleam kind of vase looking thing. I've actually seen some people use it as like almost a globe on a street lamp. That's a pretty awesome idea, but I'm looking at it as like, okay, where's a block of leaves to plop on top of it? Because yeah, it just looks like it needs a fern or something or a bush growing out of it. But yeah, pretty cool changes. Can't wait to get my hands on them, play around with the new glass. Some of the lighting that can go along with the glass is just amazing. But anyway, I'll shut up before I ramble for another 3 hours. This was Jiivita. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more like this. And if there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down below. Also, if you like my channel, want to get cool perks, check out my Patreon page. Until next time, peace.